Burna Boy was one of the guests at the British Fashion Council's awards ceremony, and he was given the honor of handing the awardees their gongs, because that's a really prestigious position. So give or take, he was put right here in my position. He was a presenter, but this time not a presenter that's reading the news, ouch, more like a presenter that's presenting an award show. Now, he went on stage, and for a lot of people, they say he struggled to read from the teleprompter. It was so crazy that he had to call the British rapper Stormzy to help him. Let's take a look at this moment, and then we'll talk about why we are having that conversation right now on Arise 360.
Come, Stormzy, come and help me, I beg. Come, help me with it.
This award is for a designer here in the UK whose independent business is a vanguard of creativity and innovation.
And the best independent British designer winner is Wales Bonner. Very much. I'm such a big fan of Burna Boy, so this means a lot to get this award for me, so thank you for that. I'm really honoured. As an independent brand, it really means so much to us and our team at Wales Bonner. Thank you very much and enjoy your evening.
Seeing that, right, I just let the whole thing play so you could get context into the video. So what do you think? Do you think that was just staged? Was Burna Boy just, trying to be Burna Boy unconventional? Or was that really Burna Boy not knowing how to read the teleprompter? Now, the first thing to understand is reading a teleprompter is not something that is expected of everyone. It's not an extraordinary thing, but at the same time, it's also not an ordinary thing to do. So, you get on stage all decked out the way Burna Boy was, and he probably was not expecting this at all. It could be stage fright, it could be, him just trying to be funny, it could have been anything at all. But the point is, he was like, guy, I beg, I cannot stress myself, come help me read what's on the prompter. I think this just goes to say that, considering, and I hate to bring this up, but a lot of people would say, well, what do we even do at the end of the day? Well, you got to give us some credit. We do this on a steady every single day, Burna. So yeah, he eventually got some help from Stormzy, and it all played out well. People had a good laugh. But let me see what you have to say about this, right? Let's get on to the tweets and see what the tweets have to say about Burna Boy struggling to read the teleprompter. Now, remember, these are not my thoughts. These are your thoughts. So if your tweet pops up, please, this is you. This tweet says, this is ridiculously annoying. I can't read a lot of things from afar. Does it mean that I don't know how to read? It's really not cool to just talk down on these celebrities anyhow. Of course, Burna Boy can read. Okay, like I said, there's no world where there's a possibility that he cannot read. I mean, it's possible. I mean, R. Kelly was a great artist, but couldn't read. So you never know. But I doubt it. Okay, let's all believe that Burna Boy can read. Okay, I don't think that's what it was. Let's move on to the next tweet. This tweet says, Burna Boy still handled the situation very well. At least he quickly asked for help and owned up to the situation. It's probably that he couldn't read from afar at that particular moment. You know what this teaches us? This teaches us grace, right? Let's not always be so, because realistically, Burna Boy is one artist who's very quick to call you out. You don't behave well at his show, pow, boot in the face. You don't ask the right question, pow. What kind of question are you asking me right now? That type of thing. We got to be graceful to people in their fields. Teleprompting is not Burna Boy's field, clearly. So that was one space that he really didn't know the ABCs of. But put him in a music video, put him in the studio, and he's going to school you. So it teaches us to be graceful. That's what people do every day. So when you meet them, appreciate it, right? Let's move on to the next tweet. This tweet says, so this brother is an illiterate. That is why Davido is clear of this fraud. I don't know what this person is talking about. I feel like there are people on Twitter. You have everybody in the world with opinions, right? It's okay to have an opinion. It doesn't matter what you're saying. You have an opinion, it's your thought. And then there are this type of people. They're just in a little corner right there. They don't know the beginning and end of a topic, but everything to them is about the big three: Davido, Burna, and Wizkid. They just have to relate it somehow. It just has to make sense. Let's take a look at another reaction to this conversation. Burna Boy can read, and the screens are not that far out. Not being able to articulate words sometimes happens a lot. I love how fans are just like coming in with the excuses though. And I feel like that's what happened here, because you're in Burna Boy's mind, yeah, okay. Which I give credits to him for calling for help. I tell you the truth, I feel like in my next life I want to be a musician, because you could do anything and they'll always bring it back to, you know what, but that's why she was right at the end of the day, right? It's simple, okay? He couldn't read the teleprompter. It's not his fault. There's no giving credits to owning his mistake. You could have, I'm sure if you wanted to, you could have been giving a little card that tells you what you had to say before you go on. So did you care to know what you had to say, or did you just want to be Burna Boy on stage? That's another thing. Let's take a look at the final tweet I believe we have. This tweet says, "It is important to remember that," oh my God, "public speaking can be a daunting task." Again with the excuses. "Even for the most seasoned performers, the pressure of the moment combined with the expectation to deliver a flawless presentation can sometimes lead to unforeseen hiccups." I believe that's the final tweet we have, and I'm going to end this conversation with, I hope that the next time we find somebody on stage in that position and the person flops or makes a single mistake, we remember to be as graceful. Because, I mean, we just saw 1,000 reasons why it is possible to not always be perfect in front of the camera, right? So, grace, not just when it's your fave, at every time. Let us talk about Fireboy. Another important clarification. So in a recent interview on the BNN podcast, our very own darling Fireboy reiterated that he does not intentionally make Afro beats. He doesn't intentionally make Afro beats. But you see, Nigerians have said, how dare you, Fireboy? Why will you say you don't like Afro beats and you hate us? That's not what the man said. Let's take a look at that interview where he appeared alongside Bloody Civilian on the podcast and clearly stated that he doesn't make Afro beats, and that's what he likes to make is music that carries elements of his culture. He was also at Coachella, by the way. So before we get into the Coachella conversation, yeah, let's take a look at what Fireboy had to say over the weekend that stirred up some controversy.
Let me see your hands up like this, everybody.
I wouldn't say I intentionally do it. It just comes off like that. When I'm making my songs, like I always say, I don't make Afro beats. I just sort of like combine stuff. I like to make different kinds of music. So even when I'm making R&B or I'm doing pop, you can hear the Yoruba H factor in it. Like, if you just notice, because this is not an American person, you know, but so you can always tell that, you know, my roots and my identity is always in my music. I don't try to.
That was what Fireboy DML said. That was what he said. But now over the weekend, the conversation was that Fireboy is denouncing Afrobeat, that he says he does not like Afrobeat, when in fact, this is what he says. And anyone who just watched this, which is why I play this, would agree that he says that it's not all about Afrobeat. What he does is music that represents his culture. If you take Fireboy DML right back to Laughter, Tears and Goosebumps, there were so many different songs on that album that could relate to different genres of music, whether it is Need You, I know you need me, but I need you more. That was a very slow ballad. You know, you bring him forward and take him to Vibration. He even had the conga and the clave in Vibration. So it was Afrobeat, but then it had other elements. So for him, it's more about representation than it is about just the one genre that every Nigerian gets so upset when anyone says they're not making it. Let's take a look at some of your reactions on Twitter to this conversation. This tweet says, "Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is how to articulate your thoughts properly without shaming or denying or disrespecting any genre." This tweet is a very clear shade at Wizkid and Burna Boy, who have said that, you know, what is Afrobeats? That, you know, if you're an Afrobeat fan, stop listening to his music. That was Wizkid. So yeah, Fireboy is not disrespecting the genre. He's just saying that there's more to him than that. But it's still him. Let's take a look at another tweet. They're all trying to form international artists. Now, this person says that they are the realist, but if you're a real person, you would have listened to what he had to say. This person feels like Fireboy is trying to be who he's not, trying to form international, but he is international. Let's take a look at another reaction. This tweet says, I have mixed feelings about this. While Fireboy and others who clearly make Afrobeat shouldn't be denying, we also need to acknowledge that not all Nigerian music is Afrobeat. You have High Life, you have Fuji. It's not good to just generalize. I had this conversation on the show last week where I even had an Igala artist who mixes Afrobeat with his culture. And then I had an artist who's more about soul and jazz, and then another who focuses purely on Fuji. And these are all artists within the same country. I believe that's our last tweet on this. Actually, it's not. Fireboy is not an Afrobeat specialized artist. I have listened to his entire discography at least 3 times. He does multiple genres, and he has always said this at interviews before 2024. Well, that's about it on social media. You see, a lot of clarification needs to happen, and that's why we're here with you on What's Trending.